In this video, we're planting red potatoes. Pontiac's the name of the seed. And we're gonna plant them two different ways. We're gonna plant them the traditional way where you dig a trench and then you put the potatoes in and you hill it up. And we're also just gonna lay some on top of the ground and just cover them up with straw or hay. And we're gonna find out at the end of this video which potatoes produce the best. I've already got my dirt tilled up and I got my 2 pipes in the ground with my string to keep my rows straight. And this first row is just going to be potatoes on top of the ground with hay on top of them. And I am going to put a little bit of fertilizer down and mix the fertilizer in on this ones I'm just going to cover up with hay. We're going to be using some 10-10-10 fertilizer. I like the Super Rainbow, but I don't have any. This is all I got. This is what I'm using. We cut our potatoes up about 5 or 6 days ago, and you want to cut them up where there's 2 or 3 eyes on them. You got to have at least one eye to get a plant. If it don't have any eyes on it, you won't have no plants. And I cut these up about 4 or 5 days ago so they'll callus over. And you don't have to do that. I have cut them up and planted them the same day, and they make fine. It's best if you cut them 4 or 5 days before you plant them. And I have heard of people planting the whole potatoes. You can plant the whole potatoes, but if you want more plants, you cut them up and you'll get more plants out of your potatoes. And that's what I done. But they already sprouting and ready to grow. We're gonna get them in the dirt. First off, we finna put some fertilizer out on top of the ground right here and mix it in. We're gonna put about that much fertilizer out. Now I'm just mixing in the fertilizer so it's not right on the potato. We got the fertilizer mixed in. Now it's time to put the potatoes down. And we're going to plant these potatoes about a foot apart. We got our potatoes down on top of the ground where we're just going to cover them with straw. Now we're going to dig a furrow or a trench to put our next row of potatoes in. Now we're digging our trench. This is the traditional way to plant potatoes. Dig the trench, fertilize, and hill it up. All right, we got the trench dug. Now we're gonna put the fertilizer in. And we're gonna put about that much fertilizer. About that much fertilizer in there. And now we're just gonna mix in this fertilizer so the potatoes ain't sitting right on the fertilizer. Now we're putting the potatoes in the trench, about a foot apart, eyes up. Well, I didn't quite have enough to finish this second row out. I'm like about 10 or 12 feet here. And I have these potatoes left over from last year that I'm going to plant. I'm going to plant whole potatoes. Just see how they do. I've never tried this before, but we're going to try it and see. See if these make potatoes. We got them all on the ground. We're going to cover them up now with straw and with dirt. To start with, I'm going to cover these taters up just 2 or 3 inches deep. Then I'll come back when they sprout through this and the rain beats it down and cover them up some more. All right, now we're gonna cover these up we got in the trench. Well, I got the potatoes in the ground and under the straw. This is the first time I've ever planted under the straw. We're gonna see how that turns out. Well, my potatoes are starting to come up. I planted these February the 14th. Today's March the 8th. And they're starting to pop through this hay, this straw here. And I don't have this straw very thick, so I'm gonna put another layer of straw on here, and I'm gonna add just a little bit of fertilizer to the side of these, and then cover them up with about 2 or 3 more inches of straw. That'll give them about 4 to 5, 6 inches of straw. You can see these are starting to come up. Just cover them on up. All right, there it is. I got it covered again. The other had packed down till about 2 inches thick, and this is pretty. I got this pretty tall, but it's real fluffy. Once it rains on it a few times, it'll pack down. I'll have about 4 or 5 inches, maybe 6 inches of straw. It's April the 15th. I planted these in February the 14th. It's been 2 months and 1 day. All the potatoes look pretty good. Both rows look pretty good. The ones I planted in the dirt and the ones I just laid on top of the dirt and planted in the straw. Another month or 2, we'll be able to dig them, see which one produces the most potatoes. They look pretty good. I planted these potatoes on February the 14th. Today is May the 7th. And we're gonna dig these potatoes and see which one done the best. The ones that we dug the trench and buried, or the ones we laid on top of the ground and just covered them with straw. Let's take a look and see which one's done the best. That was a pretty good little hill there that I pulled up. It was pretty good off of one hill. What I got off of 3 or 4 hills. See what we got down in here. They're not real big, but I like them this size. That's what they look like. Those look pretty good. Here's another big one. Man, that did get big there. That was a pretty good hill. That was one hill there. Nice potatoes on it. Bunch of taters. These ain't very big. Well, I got the taters all dug up. The ones on the right-hand side are the ones grown in the straw. The ones on the left are in the dirt. And right here, they're all about the same size, about the same amount of potatoes. These right here, part of them's in the dirt and stuff that grew in the grass. Planted 10 pounds of potatoes, and this is what we got. The ones in the straw didn't get as big. I don't know what I've done wrong with them, but they're just right for stews or roast. But that's what they yielded. The one in the straw looks like it made more potatoes, they're just smaller. That's it, and I'm gonna pick them up, put them in buckets and keep them separate and see how many gallons we got of each. That's what the potatoes look like picked up. That's the ones that grew in the straw. That's the ones that grew in the dirt. And the ones that grew in the dirt were, the row was about 10 feet shorter than this row. So these made bigger potatoes and bigger potatoes. Them might have made more, but they're smaller. Let's see how much they weigh. There's my scale. And that's about 5 pounds of potato seeds I planted turned into 36 pounds. So that's pretty good. 36 pounds of potatoes. And 27 pounds. That's the ones that grew in the straw. About 10 more pounds, the ones that grew in the dirt. So, well, that was my potato harvest. I was satisfied with the harvest. I planted 10 pounds of potato seed and got about 63 or 64 pounds out of it. And the ones in the straw was just an experiment for me to see which one I thought was the best. I've always heard about planting in straw, but in my opinion, I didn't really like it. The ones in the straw had twice as much insect damage as the ones in the ground. And they didn't get as big, and I fertilized them all the same. I watered them all the same, planted them at the same time. So the ones in the ground done better to me. They got bigger, they were heavier. So from now on, that's what I'll do, is just plant in the ground potatoes. But I do thank everybody for watching the videos. I hope this helps somebody grow potatoes. Potatoes are really pretty easy to grow, to be honest with you. That's one of my favorite things to grow. Potatoes, green snap beans are easy to grow, and both of them make a lot. You don't have to do a whole lot to them to make them grow. But if you would, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share the videos, leave a comment down below, and I appreciate every one of them.